Good morning, everyone. My name is Greg, and this is Soul School Network for Sunday, February 15th. Happy Valentine's Day. A day late, but I hope you had a good one. Today, we're going to do more of our traditional Sunday circle. When this whole project began, it really was more of a conversation between individuals to share their thoughts on the events of the week or what was on their mind or on their schedule in terms of their spiritual learning. So we're going to go back to that a little bit today. But let's start off by doing what we should always do, ground ourselves. And Corey Yank isn't able to join us live today, but we secretly recorded her. And so she'll be doing our grounding meditation. So Sue will cue that up for us.
Lie down or sit in a comfortable position. To start, you might close your eyes if that feels good. Take 3 deep, relaxing breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. One more time. In through the nose, out through the mouth. We'll start scanning our bodies for any tension there might be. Starting at the head. We'll do this together.
Hello.
We'll just observe without making any meaning out of it. Scan the crown of your head, the back of your head, your face and neck, your shoulders, one arm and then the other, all the way down to your hands. Now your back, from the neck all the way down to the final bone of the spine. You can focus your attention now on your chest and your abdomen. Are there any sensations so far? Any muscle tension? Just observe it for now. Continue with your right leg and foot and your left leg and foot. Wherever you found tension, let it go gently by visualizing that it is a white cloud that slides down your body all the way to your feet, leaving your body through the soles of the feet. Perhaps there will be many clouds of tension leaving your body. That's great. You're letting them go. You can feel good about it. Once tension is out of your body, it will be gone and transformed into life-giving energy. Let's take a deep, relaxing breath. in through the nose, out through the mouth. Let it feel good. You can stretch your body and make sure you are comfortable wherever you are. You are a beloved child of God and the earth, deeply connected to her. Notice how your feet are planted on the ground, either physically or energetically at all times. Feeling the earth with the soles of your feet. Feel how your energy grows and extends itself from the soles of your feet towards Mother Earth. You are growing energetic roots that go into the moist, rich soil under your feet, uniting with the Mother, receiving nourishment and love from her. The more your roots extend and go deeper and deeper into the earth, the more you feel deeply grounded and held in love by Mother Earth. Stay present in this moment. You can feel it. Remain grounded and present in this moment. Grounded and present. Grounded and present. You can gently go back to your breathing. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And one more time. Now you can slowly open your eyes when it feels good to you, and move your body slowly as you come back. Enjoy a beautiful day.
Thank you, Koryanka. That was a nice grounding opportunity for all of us. Welcome back to Soul School Network for Sunday, February 15th, 2026. I'm Greg, and we welcome those who joined us just moments ago, and also those who are watching our program on YouTube over the next weeks, months, and years. So today, we really are returning to our traditions of more of a Sunday circle, an opportunity to just share our thoughts on what's going on and what matters to you, and maybe an opportunity to get some insight from each other as spiritual seekers, if you will, all on our own paths. Yeah, we use the idea of a circle, but it's not a new one, of course, for gatherings. It has a deep history in many traditions, including indigenous cultures. So let's start things off, maybe talking a little
Greg?
bit about... Yeah.
Can't hear you. Can you guys hear him okay?
No.
No, something happened to your audio, Greg. We can't hear you properly. There's a noise and then it went down.
Okay, now?
Try
Yeah,
again.
that's better.
Yeah, I had motorcycles rolling by, and so I'll speak up a bit.
Okay.
But it's one of those days when there's a lot of motorbikes on the road. Once again, talking a little bit about the idea of the concept of a circle gathering. Michael, you have had a lot of experience doing circle with indigenous nations that you've worked with. Do you want to start us off with a little bit of a concept of why a circle works so well?
Sure. Thanks very much, Greg. And hi, Stacy. Good to see you here. Well, in the indigenous tradition, which is something that Susan and I have experienced over, let's say, from 1994 until we came to Peru, 2018, 2019, something like that. Circle is a marvelous way of communicating. Circle's a marvelous way of listening. And what happens in circle is that usually there's a talking stick or a feather. A prayer opens the circle. And the beauty about a circle is everyone's equal. No one's above anyone else. And the key to the circle is the idea that when someone has the feather or the talking stick, everyone listens and retains their thoughts and what they have to say or observations until the feather or the talking stick comes to them. And everyone listens intently based on the idea of who holds the feather is the speaker. My experience in circle is fantastic. I've found that circle is a beautiful way of communicating. Why? Because we listen. That's why the most important part. But I shouldn't say the most important part, because in the end, the most important part is that circle is sacred. You'll notice that in the Western world, we live mostly within the square. And the courtroom is square, the boardroom is square, everything is square. And there's a hierarchy. And so we end up with the expression speak to power, and which essentially means having to speak to somebody above you. And in the circle, again, I reiterate, no one's above anyone else. And as a consequence, we're all equal and we get to share. And the magic of a circle is it takes on its own energy. We could introduce a topic, we could say a topic, but as the conversation goes around the circle, we end up in a place that we didn't start. The beginning and the end are never the same way. So with that, I'm thinking that the way I'm looking at the screen, we could start with Susan. And despite the fact, well, I have a feather, and what we'll do is we'll pass the feather around the circle, and we'll hear everyone's thoughts. And because it's an open circle, there's no particular topic. And so, with that, I hand the feather to Susan.
Thank you. Good morning. Wow. Thanks for that introduction, Michael. We've been in a lot of circles. We are so blessed to have been shown that possibility for communication and connection. And that's what circle offers, from what I've witnessed, is deep connection. It can bring healing, it builds community, and holds the potential that I've witnessed in fostering mutual understanding. Sometimes we sit there for hours in a circle, waiting for that mutual understanding to land. Like sometimes there's time, there's parts of the circle that are uncomfortable. But that's the whole point of the circle, is to be with what is. And I've been studying nervous system regulation, and we know that connection is key for people. So I think circle offers us a lot, and it's our lives. Our lives are in a circle. And I've been following the moon calendar. You look up at the moon. This is a circle, obviously a lot more than a circle. And so I love the idea of, and I just want to say we're in the dark moon. This is something that's on my mind. This weekend, we're in the dark moon before we go to the new moon on Tuesday, which is also the Chinese New Year. It's the year of the fire horse. So this is a really intense energy double fire year. You can read about it if you haven't already. It means accelerated progress. It's a lot of energy. And so it's a year that really favors transformation. So that's a positive for all of us. And so I'm sharing that partly because too, I think that's what Circle's about, is sharing ideas, what's on your mind, something to bring to the circle that you think would be of interest or something you want to solve. And something I'll bring to the circle, Michelle brought it up before we started this morning, is about any guest speakers. That's always something that we like to have. So if you have any recommendations, we welcome them. Yeah, so that's my thoughts about the circle for now. I think it's a great place to find ourselves, especially if we feel comfortable enough to bring something. There could be something happening on the world stage or in our own homes that we would love to know other people's insight about. So it can be an opportunity for that too. All right, I'm going to hand over the feather to Sarah Swinwood.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Pardon me
Yes,
for
we
not
can.
being on camera. I'm just because I'm on my phone and I'm on the go. So I'm just kind of in between things. So thank you so much, Susan, for your share and thoughts on Circle. I thought of quite a few things as you were speaking in relation to this changing over to the Fire Horse year, for example. I'm really feeling it and have been feeling it as the snake year wraps up, which has been a year of huge transformation and shedding. And in my friend circle, we've been sharing what has come up for us with our families and friends and career stuff and just a lot of the struggles or obstacles or challenges that we've encountered have really felt more that these challenges are here for us to make a breakthrough, to move on to the next thing, which is totally in alignment with what the snake is all about. It's, you can't, you can peel the snake off, the skin off the snake, but it wouldn't be very comfortable. It has to happen naturally. And that can cause discomfort. It also is beneficial to recognize that it's part of nature, it's part of the course of life or the movement of the circle. And the energy that I'm feeling now, the frequency that I'm feeling now is a really powerful burst of energy that is kind of like pushing a surfboard out into the wave or finally catching the wave. That's the vibration I'm feeling right now. And it's interesting because in order to get there for myself, I did have to surrender. I really did. I really did surrender. I just dropped it. I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how I'm going to get through what I've got ahead of me. And I just stayed in prayer, stayed in mantra, and also went deep into the discomfort, really just sitting with it and realizing that the discomfort, and I mean, this will be a process throughout life. It's not the snake year's over, I'm never going to feel this again. It's just, I feel now the support for having done the work of sitting with that discomfort and being comfortable enough to allow myself to do it. Now it just doesn't feel as heavy, it doesn't feel as intense. And having grown up with Circle, with Michael and Susan, and this practice of Circle, it's something that I bring with me everywhere. When I see conflict in the outer world, we can't always sit everyone down in our community and say, let's do Circle. So that's what brings me back to my own meditation and doing Circle within. And also that assists with the surrender. If people are not willing to do Circle or approach things in a deeper way where they want to process things by facing their own discomfort rather than pointing the finger. Now I just release people. I can see certain people are going to be close friends, and other people are going to be friends that are over there. They pop into my head, I send them light, and then I just keep it moving. Whereas before, I may have lingered and wondered, why aren't I hanging out with this person as much anymore? Or why aren't I hearing from so and so anymore? And I've become really at ease with the idea that not everybody needs to be on the inner circle. And that also applies to world issues. My partner and I were actually just talking about that the other day, that our circle for our home is Eric, myself, and the dog. And then it's, how are things going in the home? Do we have food in the fridge? Are we feeding ourselves well? Are we creating home harmony? And then the circles expand around that inner circle. So I find that a lot of the confusion that I encounter is in myself or in others is when we're putting everything in that center circle. Like, the Epstein files or whatever other news is going on. That's way out there in the outer circle for me. That doesn't come into my inner circle. That doesn't affect my everyday life. I can acknowledge it, send it light, and then, get back to work on, am I doing my daily meditation? Am I nourishing my heart and my home? Do I have that flow of balance? And then I'm going to have the strength to go out there and sort of deal with those other circles, or welcome people into the circle and help the circle to expand. Pardon me if this sounded like a bit of a ramble. It's hard for me as well not being on camera. So I'm going to cap it there. Maybe we can circle back. Big
Very
bless.
nice. Who would you like to pass the feather to, Sarah?
So Susan passed the feather to me. Who opened the circle? Pardon me.
Michael, your dad.
Okay, may I pass the feather to Stacy? Are you there, Stacy? Okay, I'll pass the feather to Sheila. Will you graciously
No,
accept
Stacy's
the feather,
here.
Sheila? Oh, Stacy's here?
Stacy is
Stacy,
here. Yeah.
Why, hello.
I pass the
How are
feather
you?
to you. Bless, brother.
Well, it just so happens I happen to have a feather.
Yeah. Excellent.
So good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Wonderful being here with you. It's a little unexpected for me, but here I am. So I, on the discussion of the circle, and so like as Michael said, it becomes a very useful tool in expressing one's feelings and thoughts. So within that, you feel that situation when you form circles and you meet within them, it gives you the understanding that there is no beginning and there is no end. And so there are only points along the arc as you progress through the proverbial circle. And so those points along the arc are the memorable pieces of the journey. And so when we look to the sky for guidance, for knowledge, for wisdom, for understanding, there are no straight lines or squares in the sky. There are only circles. So a great masterpiece of the creation is to be aware of and have the reverence for the moon and the sun. Are the most prevalent circular images that you find yourself being in awe of. So, so in the native equation, you'll see this symbol many, many times recreated in many, many ways. And it's the expression of this understanding that people have. So I'm going to share with you a little piece of artwork. And so within that, you can see there's the proverbial circle, and it makes an expression. It teaches you, it gives you a world view with which to fit into. And so when you go into indigenous-minded peoples who are connected to the earth, which happens to be the most ultimate circle we have to express ourselves, um, we uh, we shape all of our worldview around that idea. So in this image that I've created, here you can see I've taken the expressions of what that worldview looks like. So for me, it's the idea of this beaver that made all the land. And that land is expressed in that circle. And so within the image, and so it comes to me, to you, sorry, presented by me as a proverbial map. To you, you wouldn't look at that and you say, oh, that's a nice piece of art, right? But in your greater understanding of the circle talk, you come away with a more meaning. And so within that plane of understanding is the worldview. So for me, in this expression of this map, so to speak, it speaks to my worldview. So which is within my territory, there's the great beaver that created all these lands, and we refer to that in a word called Akamic. And so within the Akamic territory, we express it to the north, to the tree line, and that's the symbol of the tree. And we are bound by two rivers on this understanding of the worldview of the beaver. And so there are 4 pieces of land associated to the beaver's range. And so the roots of that understanding are found to the south. And to the east and to the west are the rivers that connect it all. So on the top of the image, you'll see little spiky things on top. And those are the securities of the understanding. So within it, there are protections, and there are other things that have to occur in order to solidify and maintain that the circle is intact. And so that becomes universal to all of us as a community of peoples that understand this. So I got a grandson that's putting up giving his grandma some grief. Excuse that. So as we move along through our experience called life, we find ourselves negotiating all of these situations with that worldview. So in the corporate structures of the world, and there are many examples, but as Michael expressed, they're housed within this concept of the square. And there's these right angles, there's these straight lines, there's these things that, you have to make a turn and you have to go a new direction, and all these things go on. And so for people, when they have this concept of the circle as their understanding, when they encounter the square, and somebody from the square tries to back you into a corner, it's astonishing, because within the circle there are no corners. And so it becomes a form of conflict for people, because and so the concept of the square is a people-born alternative understanding. Within the concept of the circle is a creator-given understanding, and it reverberates throughout the universal plane. And so, these understandings can become contentious points when conflict arises. And so the purpose of the feather within that is to maintain truth. And that's what this symbol is. And so truth, as we understand it, can resolve all conflict. So that's where we're at. That's what we do. That's why we do it. And so, the Creator appears as wise, and so we have to listen when we're spoken to. There's many ways that this materializes in a person's life, and so the first thing is to become cognizant that the natural order is the way of things. And so when you come against those contradictions to that way, you have to make choices. Either you have to submit, or you have to progress, I would say. So uh, I think with that, I'd like to say miigwech to everybody for hearing that. And I'll pass the proverbial feather to Mrs. O'Reilly.
So right. I have two tiny things to say. I love the concept of we've come full circle. Hopefully it it is that. And the other thing that I think has always been really cool for me when I work with children, circle is the first thing that they ever draw, really. It's kind of neat, like they sort of make that. So I look at that from the beginning of, and that kids are generally my mark on. Yeah, did I lose you?
We're here.
No, you're there. Okay. So I lost picture, but that's okay. Anyway, so that was my two tiny little things I wanted to say. And I have lost my pictures, so I will pass to Michelle.
Well, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Um, I've been staying away from media. I used to check the news sites every day, and that wasn't good for me. Especially when you're already dealing with other health issues. I guess I can comment on what Sarah was saying about social circles, like keeping your social circles small, or because before spiritual stuff, I already had a small social circle, and that was for a good reason. That expanded during COVID because I kind of needed support, and my friends weren't on the same page as me for a lot of that stuff. And I guess, and then when I, had a spiritual awakening, I got a whole different set of friends came into my life. And even then you have to be picky because not everyone deserves access to your energy. And so far I've just been, struggling a lot, having a lot of these dark nights of the soul, as they're called. I came into the game, I guess, a little too late. I guess I had my awakening too late. And then I found out, like, I had this person in my life that I had a very strong connection to, and he passed away 2 years ago. And that's one of the things I've been really having challenges with, the grief that was caused by that. And I'm really not good at public speaking. But see, that's another thing, like when you don't have the social interactions, you don't know what to say in these kind of situations. But I think that it's important to be careful who you let into your life, because they can drain you, and they might not have the best intentions. And like even in spiritual circles, you should be more careful, although those tend to be safer. And so I found out recently that I needed more of a balance in my life. I needed kind of like my spiritual friends and also my matrix friends. That's what I call them, my nickname for them. So I have like, I can talk to my matrix friends about, movies and, mainstream stuff like that. And then when I need a break from the spiritual stuff, because it can get pretty deep. And but yeah, I think that it's right now, especially, it's best to stay away from a lot of media stuff because it's just too nuts out there right now, and it's just getting worse. And so I guess I have to maintain my spirituality and be more grounded, even though that's been very difficult for me. I really don't know what else to say. So I'll pass the feather on to Greg.
Thanks, Michelle. Actually, you're very good at speaking. Maybe you don't see it or hear it yourself, or in terms of your confidence, but you brought up a lot of really great points. I love the idea of having different circles for different groups in your life, and being able to limit that sort of the influence of those based on based on the time and the place. Just reflecting on what you said, for me, it was the very same thing. The last little while, I've been tuning out of mainstream media more so than I have in the past. It's difficult because as a former journalist, I wanted to keep on top of everything. There came a time in my career when I realized it just kind of like a lightning flash that said, you don't need to know it all. You don't need to be absorbing all of this material. Some of it isn't good for you. And so, Sue had mentioned a couple of events that have happened in Canada I wasn't even aware of. And there was a sense of bliss in not knowing about the tragedy that unfolded in one case. I was going to basically say the same thing. Tuning out is sometimes the best way. It feels good. It feels good to just focus on what matters to you. Sue is certainly an inspiration in that regard, because she is not a movie watcher or a newspaper reader per se, but you make a good point there. Michelle, the other thing that you kind of talked about was the discomfort with with just being sort of forced into a conversation or into a discussion like this. And one of the things I learned along the way, at least, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Michael and Stacy, but in the Indigenous circles, you don't have to say anything. You can pass the feather. You can say, today I choose to focus on what the messages are from the other people that are here. And I think that's an important thing for us to know in this, because, I see a couple of people came to the circle today and then disappeared. And maybe it was because they didn't feel comfortable on this particular day to share their insights or what they're going through. So, passing that feather is just as important, I think, and being part of the circle without having to enter into the discussion. The last thing I wanted to just touch on was, Stacy, you shared the image with us that you created. That's also the logo for the Amikwa Nation. And I've seen that logo 1,000 times. I call it a logo, but now it's, to me, it's a piece of art. I didn't understand sort of what I was looking at. I mean, I could identify the beaver, but this idea of a compass, now when I look at it, I see you're really creating an image of your world and your viewpoint on how to basically include all of the key messages, the east-west being the rivers, the north with the tree line, and there's the tree at the top, the four basically, I think, was it pieces of land in a sense. All of those things didn't even occur to me really. I saw it more as a just you putting your thoughts into a piece of art. But I love that the idea is that we all have our own sort of circle in that regard, and we could all kind of create what does our world, what's in our particular world, what do we want to have in that world? What are the focus points? What direction are we going in? And that sort of thing. So that was really meaningful for me. And that's really all I'd like to share. I like this idea of a circle, and also the idea that you can share or not if you feel that this is a particular moment or discussion you don't want to be involved in. Would you say that's accurate, Michael?
Yes, very accurate. That's a really good rendition. I'm going to take it that you're passing the feather to me.
Well, in a way, yes. I mean, I don't know what the protocol is here, but the thing about these circles is that you could go around and around and around 1,000 times, and sometimes maybe that's a really great thing to get to the meat of the discussion. But I just wanted to get your insight, because I know you've been in these this kind of a circle discussion format, I guess, so many times.
Yeah, well, you're absolutely correct. When the feather is passed, you do not have to speak. You can offer up a silent prayer and then pass the feather. That's absolutely accurate. I have to say, everybody who shared here, it's been insightful. It's beautiful. It doesn't matter whether you say 2 or 3 things or 200 or 300 things. It doesn't matter. What matters is that your heart gets presented. And this is the vulnerability of circle. The vulnerability of circle is that when you get the feather, all eyes are on you. And so all of a sudden you feel like you're centered out or something. But the beauty of the circle is that everybody's there to support you and to support what you're saying. Like Michelle, your ideas are well-founded, well-grounded, and you should not be shy or nervous about saying what it is that you're thinking, because what you're doing is you're assisting each and every one of us to learn. It doesn't matter what the expression is. It's all about the learning. And the joy of the circle is that I get to support you. That's the joy of the circle. I get to support you when you speak. I get to support Greg when he speaks. I get to support Sheila when she speaks. So that's the beauty of the circle, is I come into the circle and I have a circular heart, an open heart. And in that open heart, I open my mind to listen, to understand, to feel, all of those things. That's a beautiful, beautiful experience. And so I bless it. I bless it deeply. And I thank everybody here for sharing. It's all deep as I see it. In the Hindu tradition, today is the day of Shiva. And in the Hindu tradition, there are all sorts of celebrations and meditations and all sorts of things surrounding the idea of Shiva. And so within the Trinity, we have Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, the expression of the 3 from the absolute source. And what we find ourselves in at this moment in time is the energy of Shiva. And when I look at Donald Trump, I see Shiva. And why do I see Shiva? Because I see destruction. And I see, oh yeah, there you go. Thank you, Sarah. That's fantastic. The picture of Shiva. So when I see Donald Trump, what I see is the energy of Shiva, because it's destruction. And when you're thinking like 10 years ago, what does it mean when they say the energy of Shiva will come on the earth and that there will be destruction? And why destruction? Well, because there needs to be destruction in order to birth a new age. Everything that we're witnessing is the end of this age. The Iron Age is over. We're going into the Aquarius. We've left Pisces. We're in Aquarius. and we're going into the new age, which is going to produce a golden age. And that golden age is going to be made up of deep, deep spiritual understanding. That's why it's going to be a golden age, because the people who will be participating in the golden age will be the ones who have awoken or are awake. It's funny when you take that word, you'll get destruction also, because split up the word awake, and what do you get? A wake. That's not so good. That sounds like death, right? But death is what we need to bring to the paradigm of what we consider to be our essence. We consider our essence to be who we know, what we know, and how we know it. And that's not so. Our essence is a divine flame which resides within. And it's the spirit, the essence of you is a spiritual essence, not a physical essence. That physical essence, that body, is just nothing but a uniform. And the mind that contorts itself around external events is the one that needs to be tamed. You know, it's quite the visual when you look at the cover of Bhagavad Gita. You know, the cover of the Bhagavad Gita has Krishna right beside Arjuna, who's got the reins of the horse and the way they're going. Well, that's the way it is for us in life. You know, we're four things. The horses represent the emotion. The carriage represents the physical. Arjuna represents the mental. And Krishna represents the spiritual essence of one. Uspensky put it this way. He said, take the carriage that carries the princess to the ball, to the magic ball, and understand that the princess inside the carriage is the one who tells the driver how to get to the magic ball. You can't get to the magic ball with logic. You can't get to the magic ball with emotions. You can only get to the magic ball when the princess informs, when the princess tells the driver where the magic ball is. If you're living your life in your emotional house, then the horses are going from pillar to post, tree to tree, I guess, if they're in the forest. And it's not bringing you anywhere but suffering. If you're using your feelings and your mind and it's concentrated on the material world, then it's going to bring you suffering. But if you're paying attention to the princess in the carriage, which is your essence, then you're going to bring about awakening. You're going to wake up to what's going on around you. And what's going on around you is destruction. That's what's happening. The world is being destroyed from within. Empires don't fall because somebody else came along and knocked them over. Empires fall from within. And if you look at the United States of America, which I call the excited States of America, and the reason I call it that is because in the Declaration of Independence, the colonial people said, and you excite the savage Indians against us. I think it was the other way around, they're excited ones. It was the other way around, but they wrote it so that they could justify the violence that they were perpetrating on the indigenous people. But you see, within the framework of what we live in right now, you're seeing, let's take Mr. Trump again as an example, and then examine his cabinet. And then, you know, in your mind, look at the picture of Trump sitting in a cabinet meeting. And what do they do in a cabinet meeting? They don't talk policy. They kiss his ass. That's what they do. They kiss his ass. And what they end up being is a team of incompetent sycophants. That's what they are, a team of incompetent sycophants. And then what does that produce? Destruction. Homeland Security, Minister of the Interior, Minister of this, Minister of that. They have absolutely no leadership. They have absolutely no wisdom. And what they're supervising is the death of that system. It's falling apart. Now go around the world and show me something different. But the only thing that you can show me that's different is Ibrahim Touré in Burkina Faso. And he has caused what I would say a quiet revolution in Africa. And he has pushed African leaders to begin to understand unity, to begin to understand that they have been raped, robbed, and pillaged, and that they have to stop that. And Ibrahim Traore, to me, represents the divine. It's like it's an avatar. It's someone who's been sent by higher dimensional beings to open people's eyes. He stands up to the Trumps of the world and the Putins and everybody else and talks about humanity and looking after his people and all of those kinds of things. And so it contrasts what's really happening in the rest of the world. You know, the rest of the world is, you know, Putin thinks that the way he can run things is because he has a big army. And look at, they're in a quagmire in Ukraine. They haven't defeated anybody. Sure, they got this territory and that territory, but in the end, they really haven't advanced much, and they look kind of silly. And the reason they look silly is because wisdom doesn't reside in a bomb. It just doesn't. And yet that destructive posturing, let's just say, by Putin, China, United States, all other places in the world, they don't talk about Babaji. They don't talk about Babaji, who came in many centuries as an avatar, instructing humanity on the secrets of the universe and telling humanity it lies within, it's within you. And if anything should come out of the circle here today, is a feeling that everything is in your heart. And if you could put your brain in your heart, make your brain act in your heart, then what you're going to begin to do is change. You're going to change the mind set. Think of that. The mind is set on certain things. And as a consequence, as Uspensky says, you then make the prison. You make the prison, you put yourself in the prison, you lock the door, and then you forget where you put the key. Well, the key is in your heart. And as you pray, meditate, think through your heart, then everything changes and your perception changes. And you come to the realization, life is not about who likes you. Life is about you liking and loving yourself. That's what life is about. Existence, Sat, Chit, Ananda. Sat, eternal existence. Chat, eternal consciousness. Ananda, eternal bliss. That's what you come from, and that's what you're returning to. As Stacy was observing about the journey, he was observing about the arc of life, and that certain moments are memorable. Well, make one of these moments memorable because you commit to yourself. You commit to your own growth. And as you commit to your own growth, you change. And when you change the world. This is how we change the world. We don't change the world by getting up on a soapbox and standing there and telling the world what's wrong. And we don't stand on a soapbox and tell the world how to conduct itself. No. Guess what? Guess what? When you came into this incarnation, you chose it before you came in. And what you chose to do was come into chaos. You knew you were coming into chaos. And then when you were faced with chaos, you have to come to the realization, no, you don't have to. If you come to the realization that everything that happens to you in this life is an initiation. You are in initiation. There are 7 levels of consciousness, and those 7 levels of consciousness are replicated in the 7 chakras in your body. There's 7 days of the week. There's 7 chords on the musical scale. 7 is everything. There's 3 halls on the Mother Earth: the hall of ignorance, the hall of knowledge, and the hall of wisdom. We spend 777 incarnations in the hall of ignorance. We then spend 70 incarnations in the hall of learning. And then we spend 7 incarnations in the hall of wisdom, leading us to God consciousness. Think about that just for a moment. Think about how many incarnations you've actually had. And then think about this incarnation and bless this incarnation. Bless it before you have so much experience behind you. You have so much in your subconscious. Go find that key, put it in the door, unlock the door, open the door, and get out of your prison. And put yourself in a prism, PRISM, that shines the rainbow colors when the sun hits it. You live in cosmic consciousness, solar consciousness, and planetary consciousness. Most of the humanity is in the hall of ignorance on the planet. There are many who are in the hall of learning, and there are some who are in the hall of wisdom. Put yourself into the situation of wanting to graduate. And it's in your hands because you go to your heart and have your heart be your brain. I love each and every one of you, the depths of my heart. Thank you.
Michael. Wonderful. We're sort of at the end of our time here. Does anyone want to just throw in a thought or two before we go?
If
Yeah.
I may.
Greg, hold on, just a sec, Sarah.
Okay, sure.
Greg, I'm going to address what your question was, and I'm going to take the feather. The protocol in circle is we go around until we're complete. So you won't be able to watch the clock. We'll have to watch the feather, basically. So my turn with the feather, and I'll just say I'm so appreciate what's been said here this morning, and the reminder, what Stacy said about holding the feather, and it's about speaking truth. So this is why we've witnessed such magic and miracles in circle, and conflict resolution and new ideas. And, also to bring forth that in circle, generally, for the unity consciousness, we speak in a general understanding so that there's not a victim and a perpetrator, and there isn't an attack. It's more like speaking from the heart with an understanding that there's nothing in you that doesn't live in me, and nothing in me that doesn't live in you. So bringing unity is really the goal of the circle, I believe, to understand, heal, solve, bring light, shine light in the corners of our minds. And I just want to mention, Michelle, what you said about, maybe you just woke up too late. And I want to mention Grandfather William Commanda, who Michael speaks of every day and, just about every meeting. Grandfather had his illuminating shock in his 60s, and he was a spiritual warrior and died at 97. So he had 30 years of service to humanity. And he was an amazing teacher. So until you take your last breath, it's never too late, because we're setting the table for our next lifetime. And so I say to my mom, who's 87, any new ideas, anything we can embrace while we're here in human form, really sets us up well for the next go around. So yeah, that's really what I wanted to share. And so I'll pass the feather then to Sarah.
Quit running around there, Sarah.
I needed to find a pen that worked. I don't have my ink pot here for my quill. So wonderful. And now that I've settled a little bit, I can speak with a little bit more clarity. Thank you to everyone who shared. It's been so inspiring and wonderful. And I want to speak to some things that each of you have said. And Michelle, thank you so much for your share, and also for the part about feeling like you don't, have a gift for speaking or don't feel comfortable with it. And you bring so much. Everyone brings so much. And it's so important to share. I find that the most vulnerable shares, or the ones that are less practiced or even just less clear, can bring so much more insight. Especially I'm a writer and also a teacher, and it really was helpful for me to hear where you're struggling, because right now I'm putting together a course for helping people with things like that. And so it's just, you don't know where people need help unless you express what's going on and where you feel alone. And anyway, Michelle, you're in my prayers, and you're not alone, and you're just on time. So wonderful. And yes, this thing about the circle is, Michael has 5 children, 3 with Sandra, 2 with Susan, and we all had the opportunity to live together, all of us, for a time in Almont. And that did not, it wasn't easy all the time, with all these different characters and all these intense, different points of view and perspectives. And so sometimes there was some door slamming or dishes piling up, or, basically all of the housework landing on Susan. And then a lot of things that were going unsaid. And we'd learned circle from grandfather's gathering and from other elders that had come over to our house. And so we decided, okay, how about every Sunday morning, we're going to do a circle and pass the feather around, and we're going to keep passing it around until we resolve whatever's going on. And then we'll do a community cleanup. And our whole lives changed. It created so much more harmony. And I think the thing that's different with expressing things in a circle is that it slows things down, rather than having people talk over each other or having like a heated debate, or you're not hearing me and I need to say, the circle, you can't speak until you have the feather. And so you really need to pay attention. And it takes time for the system to adjust to this slower pace of working things out. And I think that's why people don't take the time to do it. And what Stacy was saying about the square, it's so wonderful, because you just think of the town square, and people with the flaming pitchforks, they're coming for you. The town square meeting, it's so different than the circle. I had read something recently that cities are set up in squares. The buildings are squares, the streets are rectangles and squares. And then you look at places, sacred sites, or J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings, the Shire, the doorways are circles, everything's circles. And the feeling of that, it's also in harmony with nature, where the structures and the buildings are growing along with the trees and the moss and the dandelions, and it's so beautiful. So I love this idea of bringing things back into the inner circle, the circle within. And there's something that Michael said about going into the heart. I had recently read something in an angel book about, it was a metaphor or sort of a parable about, okay, we need to send guardians to help humanity. We need to send angels to earth. Where are we going to hide them? Because they can't be visible. Where's somewhere we can put them? And the response was, put them in the hearts of men. No one will think to look there. Oh, I loved that. And I have it open to that page to remind me every day. It's right here in your heart. But, no one thinks to look there. We search high and low. We're looking outside. We're looking in libraries. We're looking at what we can read. We're doing research. It's endless. And then this place just stays quiet, dormant. All the answers are in there. I've just been having a tremendous amount of insight lately on this idea of consciousness awakening can't happen through anyone else but yourself. It can only happen through you, and it can't come through convincing anyone of anything. it can't even come from having harmony with others all of the time, which is pretty much, not possible anyway. It occurs to me that what we are here to do on this planet is to clear the toxins and the parasites from our own energy field, from our own frequency. And that those toxins and parasites are ancestral. They come from my mother's lineage, my father's lineage, and then Susan and Michael pairing means we all then are taking that on, even though I may not take it on through my blood. We're blending all this ancestry, and then there's just our own personal lives. And so instead of being afraid of what is happening on the outside, I think like the first things first is to clear it in here, to really begin to clear what's hanging around us and siphoning from us when we're unconscious. So this is the point of consciousness. This is the point of becoming more conscious. Like Dad said, it's not to get on a soapbox and let everybody know, because no matter how much you let everybody know, they may not do the work. They may not go within and make changes. And in my view, the reason that we need to make changes is so that we can rise up into our higher potential, work with some level of service, and then help others to find their, leading by example, by thriving in my own life, by finding a way that I can deliver my service. Then I can maybe share a little bit of that courage where people may summon some of their own to find what their service is. It's no longer the old paradigm of what am I going to do for work. It's not. No one wants to work. If you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life, and that's what our service to the world is. And so I think when someone's in pain, if you're suffering, if you're feeling alone, or you can't get over grief, or you can't get over somewhere being stuck, that's part of your service. That's where you're going to be able to help people, because it's, you're walking through it. And so when I'm really struggling, that's when I start taking notes, and I know that that's going to lead me to the work that I am to do. And so thank you so much for letting me share. Miigwech to everyone. Miigwech Mishomis. Thank you. I pass the feather to 1111. Make a wish.
Stacy.
Stacy, I pass the feather to you.
Miigwech. I'd just like to say, as we go through our life and we experience our truths, we make our memorable occasions, and we do our thing. The irony of it is, as you get older, you begin to see things more clearly. But as you get older, the vision gets blurry.
Yeah.
So with that, I just like to say miigwech to everybody. It's been a wonderful chat, and great to know you all. And with that, I say kichi miigwech. Very big thank you.
I just want to say one thing. Dishes never piled up in Susan Hagar's house. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, that surprised me.
On to Sheila.
On to me. Dishes never piled up. I love this little group, and I'm glad that I remembered to join, and I want to say thank you, and I'm going to leave you all, but thank you. Some really good insight and lots of good talk, which is lovely. And Stacy, nice to meet you. Michelle, nice to meet you. I'll see you next time.
I think we've done it, Greg.
Michelle.
Are you sure? I want to keep passing now. I learned my lesson the hard way.
Bye, you guys.
You got to finish the circle, please.
Oh, yeah.
Michelle.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say again. Just, I guess that this helps me to develop these skills, these social skills, public speaking skills, And thank you, Sarah, for what you said and everyone else. And yeah, this has been good. Thanks.
Now back to me.
Mhm.
Okay. Michael, what you're saying is that now that we've kind of gotten to this point, we can wrap things up now that everybody's had a chance to reflect a
Yeah,
couple of
that's right.
times.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Well, then I will just say, thank you, everyone. This was a really great lesson on a circle, for me. And, I didn't think that the whole subject would be about the circle itself, but, to kind of understand how to connect in the circle and not, have fear about sharing your thoughts or reflecting on ideas of others is a beautiful thing. So thank you for that. And as we always do here on Soul School Network, let's wrap it up with the mantra of unification. And Susan and Michael can fight over who does that.
My turn.
Okay.
The mantra of unification. The souls of all are one, and I am one with them. I seek to love, not hate. I seek to serve and not exact due service. I seek to heal, not hurt. Let pain bring due reward of light and love. Let the soul control the outer form and life and all events, and bring to light the love that underlies the happenings of the time. Let vision come and insight. Let the future stand revealed. Let inner union demonstrate and outer cleavages be gone. Let love prevail. Let all people love. Wiracocha.
Thank you, Michael. Thanks, everyone.
Thank
You'll be
you.
able to see this program on YouTube, along with all the others that we've done over the last couple of years. And, thanks. We're back on March 1st with another circle discussion. So looking forward to that. Have a wonderful Sunday.
Hi, guys. Thank you.